Okay. Um, Welcome back for in the Details is our podcast. I'm with Robert Nichols. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you first and foremost for having me on, Mr. Mauricio Florian, aka Junior. So, yeah, man, I'm Rob Nichols, your Boston-based real estate entrepreneur, as I'm known online on IG, on YouTube, and other platforms. But at the end of the day, I'm a guy who was born and raised in Boston, specifically Dorchester, not too far from where you were raised, Mr. Mauricio here, and got my start in real estate when I was how old? 24 years old. Bought my first place. It was a disastrous buy. I was told not to buy it by one of my mentors. I disregarded the advice because I was a young guy who just thought he had it all together. I was a young maverick, I was going to say. From that perspective, guys, it's been a long, long journey from there to where I am today, owning a real estate brokerage, owning an investment firm, owning a lending company, and so much more, guys, and more to come, as I always say. But yeah, no, I'm a product of a public education system here in Boston Public School grad, John D. O'Brien, class of 99. Went to college for 4 years, realized that, at that time of my life, I was just really finding myself. I went and studied pre-law as a political science major, didn't end up doing that. And once I found real estate, I got bitten by the real estate bug. It was it. That was it for me. That was all she wrote. And I've been doing it ever since.
The main thing that me and Rob will have individual conversations on. Yes, he's a real estate guy. He's doing investments, but the main thing, like, he's not only a real estate guy. Like, throughout the 7 years that I've known him, he has helped me in my personal life, in my professional life. Um, I always appreciate the guidance that he provided for me.
Now, it's been my pleasure to work with you, man, and really help you grow and mature, not only as a person, but as a businessman as well. And it's exciting to see your growth, and I'm very excited for what the future holds for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So can you tell us how it was you growing up?
Yeah, so I didn't grow with much, guys. I was talking to one of my other team members the other day, Milton. He was like, man, I didn't know how rough you had it. We were kind of talking about, why I am how I am and why I'm so appreciative of the things I have and why I believe personally it's easy for me to practice gratitude, especially when you're coming from a place where you didn't have much to start off with. So, my mom was an illegal immigrant. She came here through Mexico from Jamaica by way of Mexico. Didn't know she was going to be here. She thought she was just coming on a vacation. Her aunt said, hey, I'm sending you on a vacation up to Boston. And little did she know the journey that lie ahead. So she came here when she was 16, didn't graduate from high school, didn't have much education, started working and, moved from house to house with different family members. And so she ended up meeting my dad at church. And, they ended up getting married. My father was a union electrician, hardworking person. Really, I give him a lot of credit. I'm forever grateful for him for everything he did for me. And at an early age, my mom, being the young mother she was, really wasn't ready to be a mom. And she ended up leaving my sister and I. And so through that crisis, guys, we struggled with homelessness, abandonment at a very young age, not to mention there was a recession going on at that same time. So at a very young age, I knew all about the economy and, what that essentially means when it comes to, really trying to navigate some hard financial times. And so from there, my dad ended up getting remarried, but it was still tough. I mean, we grew up with a lot of poverty. My father was the only one working in the household. So there were times we didn't have heat. There was times we struggled to have money for food. There was times we struggled for bus fare. There were Christmases, there were no gifts, like all kinds of stuff and trauma that, at the end of the day, it could either destroy you or you can allow it to make you stronger. And I chose the latter. I chose to allow it to make me stronger and above all, appreciate just the opportunity to pursue success in order to not give up when things get hard, because I know what it's like to be even harder, and I'm not going to give up without a fight, guys. So that's really, I guess, some defining moments and some defining aspects of my childhood that really make me appreciative of life and appreciate the people around me, but also really have driven me to really strive for more, because I know, in life, I have a very unique ability and skill that God has given me. And with that skill, I really want to empower people to transform their lives in order to achieve their best selves, because everyone has it in them, guys. That's the key, Junior. That's the one thing I think a lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to learn this from this person and I'm going to do this and do that. But the reality is we have the greatness within us. It's finding ways to pull it out of us. And that's where educating yourself, investing in yourself, taking care of yourself, meditation, all those things are designed to pull out the best parts of you and bring it to life so that you can become your best self and in turn share that with the world and helping others, guys. So that's really, I think, kind of characterizes who I am, what I'm about. I've always been fascinated in transformation just because someone who grew up like I grew up, I always saw things from one side of the fence looking in, and I'm like, how do those people have such a great life? And how come I don't have that? How come I didn't have it? And how can I achieve a life where I'm able to add value to others and really, just bless everyone who comes in my presence? It's not just about money. It's about really understanding that, I wanted to be a blessing to others and help others achieve their greatness and their greatest self as well.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your story. What was a key moment that it's hard for you as a kid to see like the other side of success when you were going through hardships? What was a key moment that you remember of you saying it will be better, or like, do you have anybody around you at that time that helped you remain positive?
The craziest thing, Junior, it's one of those things. And I think when you have the right mindset, you're always pulling and looking for hope. You're looking for something to hold on to. And believe it or not, there was one guy, I didn't really even know him that well, but he was a black guy of Haitian descent who owned a commercial building across the street from where I grew up. And so, Mr. Gene is what I called him. But Mr. Gene was the first black man that I ever seen who owned real estate, had a nice car, and looked to be living very, very successful, very content. And I was like, man, I'm over here struggling, living across the street in my house. And this guy's, I heard he lived in Milton, and I heard that, from what I had known about him, but I knew he owned a lot of properties. And I said, you know what, one day, I want to not be him, but I want to have a high level of success where I can say that I'm adding value and I'm providing for my family and I'm living an amazing life. And, and that was really what it was. I think we all have to try to find the role models. Like, I love my dad. He was a great role model, but business wasn't his thing. And that's okay. He wasn't into that. He was primarily focused on, providing for his family, working hard and living his best life. And that's great. And I learned a lot from him. But on the business front, I always look for heroes and people locally who are doing business, and really tried to just emulate their behavior. And then once I went to college, my ex-girlfriend's father was also an entrepreneur. And he was the first entrepreneur that I really got to talk to, and who kind of just started to mentor me and cultivate my mind in the direction of thinking about owning my own business and how I should go about doing that. So yeah, it was some key moments along the way, but I think the one thing I'd say for any young people out there, and now you have the advantage of YouTube and all these other platforms that I didn't have. It didn't even exist back then. But and I ain't that old. But with that said, I definitely think that young folks should leverage having access to that, because there are a lot of role models and a lot of people out there who can really show you, above all else, that your success is possible. I'm going to say that again. Your success, your best life, your best self, everything you ever wanted out of life is possible. And we are the ones who limit ourselves when we start limiting our beliefs. But there's nowhere it says in the world that you can't have, what you want to have out of life. But you got to be willing to put in the work and go through a process of self-transformation to get there. And so really that's what at the end of the day, I think he did for me as a young guy. I saw the possibility of having financial stability and abundance. And again, it's not all about the money. It's about having a family. I have 4 kids. I have a beautiful wife, and I've created the life that I've always wanted, and I'm still in the process of creating it and striving for more and to have a larger impact. But at the end of the day, the possibilities for our success are endless. But the key is to look for the examples that are what we want as opposed to what we don't want. It's easy to find the things you don't want. It's easy to be around the people that say, oh, stop thinking like that. Stop talking like that. Oh, you can't have that. Oh, you're crazy. It's hard. It takes a little extra effort, but I guarantee you, if you do it, it will propel you to where you want to be versus where you are now or where you don't want to be.
No, yeah, definitely. I already know Gene. Like I already know him. I've seen him a few times over here. He owned that whole space. So
Right.
since I was
He owns
since
the
I was a
block.
kid,
He
since
owned
I
the
was a
block. He
kid,
owned it since I was a kid.
and then he like his daughter owns is renting the commercial space as
Got it.
the dentist over here.
Nice.
So
Yeah, man. But that's it. He inspired. Trust me, he was one of the few role models I had who was an entrepreneur in that community, and he's still there, working hard, doing what he's doing. But yeah, no, we need to look for that, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize: the importance of seeing those examples that maybe they're not present in our lives directly, but even as close as across the street or on YouTube, or someone who you think you can relate to in some capacity, gravitate towards that, hear their journey, apply what you've learned from their journey to your life, in the areas where you think you need some assistance, learn from their story and apply it and see how it works out for you.
yeah, definitely. Like I know when I was younger, I would always think like once you become a millionaire, that's like you're a millionaire. You don't really have to work as hard.
Ah,
But Gene, he is constantly in one of the other properties that spaces that he owns there. He owns a
yep,
laundromat as well, and he's there like almost every day. If he's not there, he's at the tech casting place. If he's not at tech casting place, he's sitting. So it's like, and go on that is like you being you Rob, being at the level of success that you have, you're still in the process. You're still at the rehab site. You're still there doing what you have to do to get stuff done, even though you could just hire other people to do it.
100%, Junior. And I think that speaks to the fact that the grind doesn't stop. I'm a millionaire, Junior. I'm a millionaire. If you look at all the assets I have, you
Yeah,
look at everything I have going on, I'm worth well into the upper millions. But at the same time, the grind never stops, as I always say, guys. And it's not, like I said, it's not about the money. Like, once you find something you're passionate about and you really, enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. Like, for me, I could work technically all day, every day, because it doesn't feel like work. When I'm out here promoting myself for my videos and everything that I'm doing, it's to inspire others, and I get so much joy from that. I get energy from that. It's great. Whether it's one person I inspire or 100 or 1,000, doesn't make a difference. As long as the message is getting out there, that is my goal, because everything I do is really with the intention of providing content that has the power to transform someone's life, to be an example to someone. Maybe they see something in me that reminds them of themselves. I was maybe in their shoes not too long ago, but they can see that if you keep consistently working and you apply the principles of success, you will get there. And that's really why I do it. And it doesn't feel like work. And I know Gene is very driven, same thing. He loves what he does. He loves what he does, and he's built that, and he's cultivated his business. And it's people think you're just kind of chilling on an island, or you just want to be, hanging out all day. But the reality is, everything requires work. The most successful of us get it. We're always working on ourselves. It's never over. But the best part about it is, it doesn't feel like work once you find something that really deeply moves you to act on a consistent basis.
yeah, I know. Like go on top of transformation. I always say this to anybody I'm around. I've been at Boston Trust Realty as a realtor since 2013. Well, not as a realtor, but in the industry since 2013. And who I was then and who I am now are two completely different people. I always say this: the 19-year-old me, will not get along with the 26-year-old me. I always say this because it's a fact.
Oh
I was,
man.
like you can't even speak on it because you were like a a second person seeing my journey. That
Right.
I was very quiet. I wouldn't really express myself. I was very shy. Like, and to see that I'm still learning every day, but that I'm more outspoken, and when I feel a certain way, I express it. Than me staying quiet and me hoping that hopefully they see that I feel a certain way. But you can't with in any relationship in any industry, you can't assume that somebody knows
Correct.
how you feel if you don't express it.
That's
And
right,
when
man. Now you come out of your shell quite a bit.
yeah. So what are some of the daily habits that you do before you get your day started?
Ha. Great question, man. So number one on the list, although I haven't been as consistent lately, because I do miss my gym, but working out. So I've been working out now probably like 3 to 4 days a week, whereas typically when the gym's open, I'm there anywhere from 4 to 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. So it's been harder to be consistent with it, but I am still getting it in. That's one. Reading is huge, guys. So every day I read at least one chapter from a book. Audiobooks, when I'm driving, I'm either listening to audiobooks or podcasts. And then the third thing, and lastly, is I try to definitely listen to a motivational video first thing in the morning every day. Sometimes not first thing in the morning, but I always get it in. I get that in on a daily basis. And the reason for that, I got this bracelet here. These are my Robert Nichols official bracelets. You hopefully can see what it says. It's backwards, but it says Mindset Matters. And it has the RN logo on it somewhere on there if I can find it. I think it's on, yeah, there we go. Robert Nichols brand. And then on the inside, it says invest in you. And so at the end of the day, guys, you want to control your mindset. Your mindset is everything when it comes to really structuring your day and getting your mind fixated and getting your mind shifted from negative to positive. As human beings, we are inherently negative, and it's not your fault. The reason this is nature. Hundreds or thousands of years ago when man was, came into being, in order for us to protect ourselves, in order for us to survive, we had to have a fight or flight response, which is triggered by, a fear or anxiety or all of the things that cause us to go on the negative side of the spectrum. And the reason that's important is that if you see, an animal coming after you, chasing in the woods, and you think it wants to come play nice, and you stay there and get eaten alive, we wouldn't be here today. And so we are inherently always thinking on what the worst outcome could be as opposed to the best outcome could be. So what I find helps me daily is listening to motivational videos that, on YouTube. I have a list of over 100 that I've already saved. I'm happy to share with anyone, but any one of them will get your mind shifted. And they range from, about 3 minutes all the way up to 3 hours, depending on, what kind of time you have. But they're all impactful videos in different ways, with a message that allows you to see the possibility towards achieving your goals and towards overcoming whatever obstacles are in front of you. Trying to stop you from shining, trying to stop you from achieving. So those are really my daily habits. So working out, to recap, reading, and listening to motivational videos on a daily basis.
No, yeah, those are definitely good tips. I definitely need to start working out again. I've been slacking. I was going to get work out again before this whole stay at home. I've actually started, so hopefully
No
soon.
excuses, man. You can
No,
still work
yeah,
at home. I work at home.
Yeah, I'm
Come
going to
on.
have to. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm going to start working at home as well.
That's what I do, man. I lift weights here at the house. I got just 2 10-pounders. I do a bunch of push-ups. I got some ropes that I can do like pull-ups from and different things from. So I'm getting it in, man. Come on, no excuses, young buck. No excuses, man. Yep. The other thing I want to add to that last statement, question you asked, is while these are my habits, I didn't create these habits. These are the habits of millionaires, billionaires, world leaders, the most successful people in the world, especially those who are self-made, because it's a different set of rules for folks who are self-made, folks who don't come from anything, folks who don't have a silver spoon, folks who ain't trust fund babies like you, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole different set of rules that we have to live by. And there you go. Show them how it's done. But at the end of the day, like, if you look at the top billionaires, I know we went to a marketing conference last year, and I forget the name of the conference, but at that conference, you saw, Sarah Blakely speak, and she talked about these habits as well. And you'll find that a very high percentage of millionaires and billionaires start their day very similar to how I start my day. And so if there's anything we can learn from those folks who are self-made, it's important to engage in those activities, if nothing more, just to get your mind right and to feel better and open yourself up to the possibilities.
No, yeah, definitely. Like a couple of days ago, we had a pretty long conversation um why certain things happen. I'm not going to go into much detail because some of the items were personal, but my mindset wasn't like there. Like I wasn't completely happy, which is like self happiness is can definitely affect how you do certain things, and if you're not happy within yourself, it's gonna be very hard for you to be successful in the business in any business that you want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that is the starting point. And again, the other thing that you want to adopt in your daily practice is gratitude, being
Yeah.
grateful. And the power of gratitude, I don't know, scientifically they've proven it. I don't know why it works, but when you show gratitude for others, it pays you back tenfold. It makes you feel better. It shifts your mood. It shifts your mindset. And really, it starts the journey of internal happiness, which again, if you're not happy, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's very hard for you to bring something to the world that's going to add a lot of value to others and really empower others as well. So no, that's a very good point you bring up. I know we talked about that, and giving. Those are the two things, gratitude and giving, they go hand in hand and they're both very similar. And people always think that, giving means, oh, I have to give money or, I have to go and volunteer. But especially in the days of coronavirus, like it is right now, like literally just calling someone to let them know you're thinking about them and that, you're here to support them, supporting someone in need, giving your time in the sense of just listening and understanding and showing support, showing love. That's another form of giving as well. And so don't make any excuses. Find ways to be grateful. Show gratitude every day, every single day. Tell at least one person that you're grateful for them. And secondly, give. Give your money, give your time, give your support, whatever you can give. Just give something on a daily basis. And I guarantee you that is another piece to where happiness, that's the root of your personal happiness, guys. And selfish people don't get that. And it's hard, especially if you come from an environment where everyone's for self. But I guarantee you, if you can find the right environment and start adopting that as a practice, daily practice, your life will be better for it. What do you think about that?
No, yeah, 100%. Actually, in the conversation we had, I brought this up, but I volunteered a little bit ago at a food bank, Greater Boston Food Bank, and I remember I told you that I had a sense of like kind of like calmness. It's very hard to explain because I'm not in that moment right now, but it's like I had a sense of like kind of like happiness that I was doing my part on like helping, even though it was my time. That I'm like, it was a feeling that I never had before. It was like I felt good with what I was doing, and I was like that was the first ever time that I volunteered, and it kind of surprised me because having that feeling was like pretty surprising.
Yeah, and it's natural, man. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's and people don't realize it until they do it. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's the first time you've done it, but you clearly saw the benefit of it. And again, it's just so rewarding for the people you're giving to, but it's even more rewarding for the person actually doing the giving.
Oh yeah, and anybody that's listening should definitely go on the gratitude side of things. The person doing the audio, I used the Calm app. For one of the days that was about gratitude was to write a letter for somebody that you are grateful for. Um, I did. They told you that to the one, but like the three main people that are important in my life that I had to write three. I want you to write just writing one. Because these three people like had very important factors in my life, and one of them I'm talking to right now.
No, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, at the end of the day, Junior, like I always tell you, it starts with you, and it starts with your desire, and it starts with you putting in the work on yourself and just pulling out your greatness. And so I'm glad I could be a positive influence towards that end. But at the end of the day, man, you did all the heavy lifting, not me. I could talk, but you got to act. You got to put in the work.
Oh yeah,
So
like
let's
like it's the person. Each individual person has to put in the work. But if you have negative people around you, and you have people trying to put you down throughout the years, it takes you a little bit to realize like you actually worth something. Um, and it takes sometimes it takes somebody telling you that you build enough of a thick skin to say to yourself, and you actually believe it.
Yeah, no, good point. Very good point, man. And that's where environment is so important. And I think that's one of the benefits I had. My father was a very positive person, and he always supported me. He never put me down or anything like that. And that's one of the benefits I had. I didn't, I had a stepmom. I really didn't have my biological mom, but at least he wasn't a negative force in my life. But I know a lot of folks, they have negativity sometimes from both parents or from one parent. And it is hard to overcome that. It really is. I wasn't always great on my mom's side, obviously. But yeah, no, that's a really good point you bring up. And that's why really doing everything in your power on a daily basis to show gratitude, to give, and control your mindset. Be very careful of the content that you take in, because that content also can bring you up or it can bring you down. There's power in music, and there's power in everything we put in here. And so, especially if you're in a negative environment, for anyone out there, you really have to control as much as you can control of what goes in here and what stays and what goes out. And keep the positive, throw away the negative.
Yeah, I remember around the time I first started, I had a few people around me at that given time that I was like, seeing how the people around me at that given time when roll with each other, and how they motivate each other, how they helped each other, however way they could, kind of told me, I'm like, if this is how it is, why am I selling it for less?
Right.
And have people that taking advantage of your kindness, and like were bad people like around me that I over time I had to cut them off. The you can't allow negativity to be forced into you when you're not a negative person. And like you know my story, that like I had people that if I continue going down the route of being around them, I would not have lasted as long as I did BTRD.
Very true. And that's the thing. Like, if you have those people in your environment, guys, they pull you down. You don't pull them up. And that's, I think, the misconception. People think that negative people can be changed, but nobody can change anyone. You have to want to change yourself. And most negative folks don't even think it's a problem. They think the way they are is normal because that's all they know. But if you recognize it, that means there's something different about you. And with there being something different about you, that means you need to have a different environment than those other people that you're hanging around. And the longer you stay there, the harder it's going to be to get out. And the longer you're just wasting time, missing out on opportunities to really find your best self. So yeah, no, it's 100%. And I commend you for cutting those folks out of your life, man. You got to do that. You got to do it, because even at the level I'm at, there are people who mean well, but their version of meaning well and my version of meaning well are two different things. And as a leader, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, someone who's wise, you have to recognize that as quick as possible. If your value systems are aligned, or if they're not, then you part ways, wish them well, they wish you well, and no harm done. So I commend you for it, man. But it's at every level. It's at every level. You have to be conscious of that.
No, yeah, like there's negative people in any level of success or any level of income. just because that's how they are. Like you can be a millionaire, and you could be humble, you could be cocky, you could be so like it's such a wide range of different personalities and different traits that um you have to know who you are and surround yourself with the people that match that.
Correct, man. No, absolutely. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
So what was the driving force for you starting this podcast? Because, my wife, when she found out you started a podcast, she's like, "What, Junior? My kids, what? How's he gonna have a podcast? He's not. He doesn't like to talk. He's not really the most outgoing guy." So I'm like, "Nah, he's changed. A lot has changed in the last few months. You guys haven't seen." And so I want to commend you first and foremost for making this happen, Junior, because I'm really proud of you, man, and all your continued success and continued work. But what was it? Give me kind of the timeline on how you came to a place where you said, "You know what? It's time for me to do this. I'm tired of just talking about it. I'm ready to do it," and then actually making it happen.
So for the longest, like even if the people who don't know, I used to be an admin at Boston Church with you. And for the longest, I think we had a conversation that I always wanted to do a podcast, but I always felt the need that I need to reach a level of success and a level of comfortability with being in front of the camera and
You look real
speaking.
comfortable in front of the camera now, man. I'm telling you, got your
We know
acting skills back.
we know each other, so it's like easy. So it's still step by step that I need to be comfortable.
Yep.
I'm a little bit nervous primarily because this is a very new venture, like a new venture for me.
Mm-hmm.
But my end goal is to help motivate and uplift as much people as I can. I have a very unique story that you will learn throughout the process of the next couple episodes. But
I already know the story.
I'm talking to the listeners. I'm talking.
Oh, my bad, man.
But my main thing outside of real estate, I just want to help people. People just need I feel like they need a voice of different tips to that they need to do on a daily basis or however often they want to do it to stay motivated. We there are negative people and negative people in everyone's lives that me talking about happiness or me having other guests talking about different areas of how to become happy with yourself is what motivated me to do this podcast. Even though I'm less shy than I was when I was 19, I'm still kind of shy. So this whole thing of talking and telling people how to be happy and how to be motivated, it's still a new thing. But as people, we build each other up, and that's the main thing. I just want to help uplift people. Like I want to be a small piece of what made like somebody's day or what made somebody smile or what made somebody do a certain thing in their lives.
Love it, Junior. And I think you hit the nail on the head where it's you trying to inspire and above all, it's people who can relate to you. I think that you started off by saying, you thought you had to be at a certain level before you did this, but the reality is people like realness. I don't care if you're just starting out. I don't care if you're established, if you're real and folks can relate to you, you add value. You have the power to add value to someone's life, to someone's day, to someone's minute with the content you share that meets them right where they are. And so, man, I really want to commend you for starting it and taking it takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes a lot of pieces to put this together, man. So I really commend you for putting it all together and making it happen for you in order for you to have a platform to support others and help others, man. It's inspiring for me to see what you're doing. And it keeps me on my toes. I'm like, man, I got to do some more interviews and some more episodes, man. I can't let the young buck outshine me, man. He's gonna show me up.
Yeah, I was like, I had the logo, like my logo designed, pretty quickly, and I put like my first episode and the second episode that I did with Rob for his podcast out pretty quickly. Before I kind of like had kind of like a format in mind on how exactly I was gonna do the podcast. Primarily because I felt like if I waited until I have more of a plan, it would not have been out for a very long time.
Correct. Getting to market as quickly as possible is the name of the game, my friend. Get to market.
Yeah, because I know I'm kind of like we talked about this. I'm a perfectionist. I like to do things like pretty like good, and like even like now with this recording, like I stumbled over my words some like in certain areas, but I just feel like Rob, especially on providing a good message, is better than you stumbling words a few times.
I'm gonna say it even better. Providing a good message is better than providing no message at all.
True.
Right? Come on, man. That's what it's about. Yeah, no, and that's, you know, I think as young people out here who, you know, I want to leave you guys with a few advice because I had to jump to a couple calls, but, you know, people get caught up in, you know, judging themselves too hard. And I think the first step to freeing yourself from the mental bondage we put ourselves in, and I'm not even gonna say we put ourselves in it, it starts with our parents. They don't know any better. We are taught, and I've been really exploring this thought, and I haven't even spoke to you about this, but I've really been kind of evaluating life and kind of, you know, where I've struggled, how I've succeeded, how I've overcome, and how I can help others based right where they are. But I think our parents, they put a lot of pressure on us to be perfectionists. You agree with that? To get it right.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to get all A's. Oh, that's not my kid. My kid's the best kid, right? Hey, and then they come down on you when you don't meet their expectations of what they believe success to be. And so I really strive with my kids not to do that, because I don't think that serves anybody well in the long run. And I think the reality is that failure is really the key to success. And we have to, if we embrace it, and that's one thing I will say, my dad never put a lot of pressure on me to perform. And I think that's why I always felt I had permission to fail. He never said that, but I knew that if I failed or if I succeeded, he still would love me. He'd still be supportive of me. And I think that's where a lot of families and a lot of parents have gone wrong, where they chastise or punish their children for not meeting this bar of expectation that I don't know who came up with, but their parents and their parents and their parents, it goes back generations, as opposed to when failure happens, explore the failure. Why did you fail? Can you learn from this failure? Are you giving your best effort? How can I support you so that going forward, you're able to do it better? Or maybe we need to change your teacher, or maybe we need to change the subject matter. It takes effort. It takes a lot to give someone this kind of support. But guess what? That's the kind of support you need to give yourself. You need to give yourself permission to fail. And I'm talking to everyone out there listening to this, because that to me has been a huge key to my success, not believing in what, we're all taught that perfection is best. No, embracing failure is best, because again, if you don't fail, you don't learn. If you get straight A's in school, are you ever really challenged? Are you ever really tested? Are you ever really pushed? No, when your results aren't what you want, that's when you have an opportunity to really explore, how do I get the results I want in a given area, just based on, what I can change next time when I approach it, So I think that's super important. I mean, I could tell you, for me, one of the biggest fears I had was my second flip. I went in there super cocky, like, yeah, I'm the king of the world. I'm this, I'm that. And I ended up making negative $200,000. How's that sound? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my good friend Hughes, he asked me like, Rob, what are you gonna do? I'm like, man, now I know how to be a millionaire. You know, I could have let that situation crush me very easily. Cause I had $200,000 lying around like that back then. Like, what am I gonna do? You know, I could have cried, I could have given up, I could have went back to work corporate. And this was during the last recession. But I said, you know what? I'm not gonna let that define me. You know, and again, it was me taking the pressure off myself. And that's what we as people have to learn how to do. And it just takes time, it takes effort, it takes practice. And this is why shifting your mindset and looking at the bright side, gratitude, being grateful for even the negative things that happen to us is, to me, the key to start unlocking those pieces. Now, and it starts with being grateful for the good things. And if we can practice gratitude on the good things and eventually transition to gratitude for the negative, like right now we have the coronavirus, but I'm grateful that I get to spend more time with my family. You know, I'm grateful that my kids are getting to spend more time with each other. You know, I'm grateful for, you know, my tenants who are still paying their rent. Some of them are struggling, but, you know, I'm grateful that it's starting to make some new connections out here. It's forcing people to be a little bit more understanding of each other. It's forcing people to be more adaptable in the market. It's doing a lot of good despite what's going on. Yes, we all agree it's negative. People are dying and everything's going on. But at the same time, we have to be grateful for the positive sides of it. And I think, again, that's where gratitude would transition you from, you know, for the positive to being grateful, finding gratitude in anything in life. And so that's what I want to leave your listeners with, and definitely get your thoughts on that before we wrap up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you, I learned the most with my lowest points than I have with my highest points.
That's great.
That like you don't learn from this. Like you, for the most part, you don't really learn from your successes. You learn from the low points and the mistakes you made over throughout your life. So that's like that's 100%. Just before we wrap up, I just want to have you answer some additional questions before you have to make the calls. What is your biggest motivation now?
My biggest motivation, that's a very good question. So I think when I look back at my life, Junior, I clearly can recognize some turning points in my life. For example, when I left corporate America, and you know, my wife told me I had a really hard day at work. My wife was like, just go find a job. I looked on Craigslist. I saw an ad for a Dorchester real estate expert. The gentleman that hired me from that Craigslist ad literally changed my life. He taught me lending. He taught me real estate development. He taught me project management. He taught me property management. Like, he gave me all of these tools that poured into me and literally transformed my life. But it all was because of one encounter. You know, it started with a bad day at work. Then the second piece was my wife telling me just do something about it. And then the real piece was taking action. And so, you know, I am motivated by my ability to share my story and empower people to take action. Whatever that action is, they're going to know best. But I truly believe and know that if everybody takes the right actions towards their goals and in their lives, their success is on the other side of that. And so my
Yeah,
goal is to showcase stories of others, to showcase my own stories, to showcase things that really could potentially be a turning point for someone's life. You know, and that's the thing. I've always been fascinated with transformation, how people go from rich to poor, how people go from depressed to happy. You know, whatever the transformation is, from a negative to a positive, I think we all are fascinated by it, but I truly want to be a catalyst of that change for others. And that is what motivates me to do what I do each and every day, to help people get over that hurdle, get over that hump, and see that whatever it is they're seeking is possible, but there's a few things that have to change in their lives in order to make it a reality.
I'm an advocate. I'm one of them. Just let the listener know.
Right, 7 years, man. I'm glad I rubbed off you something positive. Something positive rubbed off on you, man.
Even though we live near each other, so he used to bully me, and then he
Right.
taught me how to be happy.
Never a bully.
Yeah. And what are some of the tips you recommend? You want to give to people who are unsure on what do they want to do with their lives?
That's a good question. The first thing is really focus on you. Focus on exploring a range and a variety of experiences. And that could be through internships, that could be through reading, that could be through YouTube University, watching YouTube. But I think young people, especially, it's really hard to know what you want to do. And so the only way you're going to figure it out is to try new things, guys. You got to try things. A lot of people don't know this, but before I was selling real estate, early on, I was a part-time agent before I got into development and lending and all that. But before I was selling real estate, I was selling junk on eBay. Real talk. And I call it junk. I don't know if you've seen Gary Vee out there going to garage sales and finding stuff and selling. Have you seen that?
I haven't, no. But I know you told me that story before.
So I was selling stuff on eBay. So my old company, I was working corporate at Stop and Shop, but we get all these leftover samples from companies that would bring us DVDs, toys, food, like all kinds of stuff. So any non-food item that they would leave as a sample, I grab probably 10, 20, 30 of them and just throw them up on eBay and just try to make some extra cash on the side, guys. And, I share that story to say, like, it's not about, figuring out or finding the perfect in the right time. It's about experience. That gave me that was my first foray into sales experience, how to sell something on the internet. And so that was a great experience. I learned a lot. It was invaluable. I made a couple bucks in the process. I wasn't going to get rich doing it. It wasn't my main business, but you have to explore what interests you and maybe something that you've never tried, a business or a model or, just explore different subjects. And then you want to read. You want to read a lot about business. You want to read a lot about life. Again, it's about expanding your mindset, expanding your horizon, seeing outside of your current environment. And that's super important. You have to be able to see and connect with thought processes, with philosophies, with ways of thinking and mindsets outside of maybe the people around you in some cases. And just to have a broader perspective on life. So, I would highly recommend, reading even like, the Wall Street Journal on a daily basis, an international news publication, Financial Times, like those are the kinds of things that I gravitate to, but find what you like. It could be Inc.com, it could be fastcompany.com. There's just so many resources out there, guys. But I think really understanding that you have to get a lot of exposure to different career paths and different careers and opportunities is really going to be the launching point for you to be able to figure out what you actually want to do. And again, give yourself permission to try things and fail. Give yourself permission to fail. Don't expect everything to work out. But again, it goes back to practicing gratitude. And when you practice gratitude, you even learn to be grateful for those failures.
No, yeah, 100%. Throughout the time that we worked together, I've learned so much on the process, your mindset, and you even yourself have grown as a person. What are some of your end goals you have currently?
So on that last note, I will say I am forever the student, just as any great person is. The minute you think you mastered the game is the minute the game's over for you. So I just want to add that in there. And I'm not done growing. I feel like I'm just at the beginning of my journey. How about that?
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. I always feel that way. And I always like, man, there's not a lot of time. But end goals, I feel like I'm achieving my greatest goals right now. And the only difference will be, it'll be just on a larger scale. But that doesn't diminish the accomplishment. When I was younger, I used to think I needed more money and more reach and more influence in order to be fulfilled and have a huge impact. But when I look back on my life, I've had such a positive impact on so many people's lives, and I've made other people millionaires. I've helped other people transform their lives, go from being in a tough place to being in a great place. So my goal is, I guess, to just continue growth relative to my reach and really being able to inspire others and give back and give more to the world in the form of, content I can share and lessons I can leave and things of that nature. Tangible goals, yes, I want to build my real estate portfolio. I want to build my team. I want to start some, innovative businesses that solve some real problems for millions of users. Like, those are the kinds of things that drive me now on the business side. But at the core, my happiness comes from understanding that I'm doing things to help other people transform their lives. And that for me is like the driving factor. It starts with my wife and my kids, and from there it's anyone who are my colleagues, my team members, you, Mr. Mauricio, my friends, my loved ones, and anyone who sees a piece of my content at the end of the day. So, I know some people have like really tangible goals, as I want to, have $1 billion and things of that nature. Yes, I have some big numbers that I want to attain as far as my business goals go. But I think the most important goals, and I know for a lot of young people, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear about the money side, but it's really about the you side. It's like what really drives you and motivates you, and what brings you the most joy. Because if you're happy, it's just so much easier to achieve your goals. But more importantly, the journey is just so much better.
No, yeah, 100%. So for the listeners that don't already know who you are, where can they find you?
They can find me on robertlnichols.com. They can find me on Instagram at Robert L. Nichols. They can find me on YouTube /Robert L. Nichols. And, those are really the main platforms that you'll be able to kind of partake in my content and connect with me on a consistent basis and kind of see what I'm up to. I try to post at least one post a day, if not sometimes 2 or 3. But, there's a lot going on, and I think for me, the one of the goals I have is more balance in running my businesses and still being able to promote and build my social brand as well, to have more reach and really connect with more people at the end of the day. So, yeah, no, but that's what the best place is to find me. And, June, I really, again, thank you for the opportunity to be on your podcast, man. And to be interviewed by you. Your story is inspiring. I've known you for so many years. It's really exciting for me to see your growth. It brings me so much joy to know I've had a positive impact, but more importantly, that you've done the hard work and taken the action and taken the steps to achieve and to start to get on the path of where you want to get to, man. So continue doing what you're doing, man. And you are a true inspiration to all of us, cancer survivor, and overcoming some serious adversity at a young age. And, I'm proud to see that you begun to inspire and help others change as well, man.
No, yeah, I will be forever grateful for your help throughout the 7 years we've known each other. And you had to be the first guest that I talked to for my podcast. So thank you again.
I'm honored.
Thank you again. And this is not going to be the first or last episode. So.
That's right, man. Plenty more to come.
Yeah,
looking forward
100%.
to the next one. Yep.
Thank you for everyone that have listened to this podcast. I have some other podcasts with other influential people from different industries. Thank you again. And DM me if you have any questions directly. Have a good day. Bye.
Take it easy.